Greetings of peace. Excuse me. This is Goddess Nanu, and I did receive a lot of really great feedback um, on the first video I did in this series of relationship advice. The last video I did was Know What You Want. I received a lot of great feedback on that. So I'm going to respond to some of that feedback. Of course, I can't do it all at one time because a lot of things were brought up. So I'm going to have to do one thing at a time. So it's going to take me probably several videos to just touch on all of the feedback that I received. So that was really great. Let me do that. And I'm doing it this way because I know that when one person has something to say or a perspective, there's many people that have that same perspective and thought process. So, it's better to discuss it so that everyone can understand what you mean if there's some misunderstanding or something that needs to be clarified or whatever it is. Um, I'm gonna start with the most important feedback that I received was about um, was about being able to learn from people's failures as well as the successes. Everybody has a story, and you should be able to learn from anyone, whether it's bad or negative, which I agree. You can't learn from people's mistakes, but learning from a mistake, you're just learning, you either learn how to avoid that mistake, and there's a limit to what you can learn. If somebody has been successful at something, if they can't tell you how to get somewhere that they've not gotten to themselves. Now, they can tell you how to avoid this place and how to avoid that place, but they can't tell you how to get to where you're trying to go if they haven't been there. That it's impossible. So when I say, I'm leery of, giving certain relationship advice, it's because if I haven't been there, how can I tell you? I haven't been married 30 years, so how can I say, okay, this is how you have a lasting, long term relationship that is fulfilling? I can't do that because I don't know yet. I only can say, I can tell you how to have what I have, and that's about it. Which, I do understand where I have and where I am in my life. A lot of people wish that they were there. Um, I understand that a lot of people, have been through things. We have a lot of single mothers, who can definitely give a lot of advice on how to deal with certain men once you've already had children with them. They can give advice on how to escape abusive situations. They can give advice on how to make it on your own when you have no choice. And you have a lot of stay-at-home moms that, even though they're married, they don't have the support that they need to have. They're married, but they're still pretty much living the life of a single mom. They're still having to work, homeschool, or, send their children to school, however they're doing it. Clean up everything, do everything, the only difference is they do have a male figure in the house. A lot of times it's like that. So, sometimes marriages have a lot of issues going on in the marriage. So even if somebody's married, a lot of times they still can't give you advice on how to have a good marriage. Because their marriage could be a hot mess. So that being said, that's where I'm coming from when I'm saying, everybody shouldn't give relationship advice. And I say that out of conviction myself. Not that, not that I believe that my marriage is a mess. I can't say that because even my complaints may sound like bragging. And I say that quite often because I have not met one friend yet that I can have a conversation with where I am in my life and they're where I am or somewhere better, to give me advice. I don't have that yet. I pray for it, but I don't have it yet. So that being said, am I in a place to give relationship advice? To some extent, to some extent I am. And I still say to very strongly, no matter what the subject matter is, you should definitely be very, very careful and cautious of taking people's advice. Because again, people can only lead you where they've gone. If I've never been to Australia, I cannot give you directions on how to sail to Australia. Okay? Now, I can tell you what somebody else has told me about how to get to Australia, but I can't give you directions to Australia. I can't do that. Now that I can tell you where not to go, if I tried to go to Australia and hit a whirlpool, I can tell you, hey, don't go this way. I can definitely tell you that. I can definitely tell you about some pitfalls, but if somebody hasn't been to Australia, they can't tell you how to get there. If they were on their way to Australia and, crashed and the ship sank and all of this, they can tell you how to avoid those things, but they still can't tell you how to get to Australia. So I'm saying that to say that, and I'll be a little personal to say that I'm on a journey in my relationship, the relationship that I have, that we're trying to achieve something that we've not seen. We don't see. And my husband's not beside me, so I'm not going to speak for him. He's working. But, I've not seen it. I've not seen today, face to face and up front, marriages where women are pretty much being the workhorse or doing everything, where they have a partner with partnership when it comes to the children, when it comes to their entrepreneur endeavors, just in life in general, a partner. And I think a lot of that is the reason you have a lot of women going to feminism, going to, lesbianism. Marcel, stop that. And I could go on for days. I don't want to get off topic because I want to address one topic at a time so that I can get feedback so that this can be a conversation. And not a one-way conversation, but a two-way conversation between me and anybody who's listening and wants to continue this conversation of growing together. Because that's what relationships are. It should be growing together, growing through whatever trials or tribulations come your way, growing through those things. And I've also noticed too, you also have to be careful about learning from people's mistakes or taking advice from people, because sometimes people will give you advice just to trip you up. I've experienced that several times in my current relationship, my current marriage. Not saying that I plan on, having future ones. I'm just saying, anyway, right now in this relationship, in the past 7 years, I have encountered people who will give bad advice. And sometimes people may purposely give bad advice because they envy where you are. They want what you have and they can't have it. And I've seen too, people that are popular, that are giving relationship advice and advising you to do things that they aren't doing. They're just not doing it themselves. You have all these hypocrites out here who want to be considered gurus, and everybody wants to be considered as the know-how person to give advice and all this and that, but they haven't done the work. Everybody wants their opinion to be considered and their advice to be taken and, to be a part of decisions. But people don't want to do the work. You have to do the work first. You have to do the work. Because if you're not doing the work, then you're coming from a place of ignorance and a lack of understanding. Because how can you even understand what steps need to be taken or understand what needs to be done in a situation that you have not soared through? It's impossible. It's impossible. And people may not want to hear that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And sometimes the truth don't feel good, and the right thing don't feel good to people. I mean, that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be done or it doesn't need to be said. We have to get past stroking people's feelings, and making people feel like there's something they're not. You're lying to them and you're playing into their own delusions, and that doesn't help them in the long run. It doesn't help people to heal. It doesn't help people to grow. It doesn't help people to be better. And that's what I'm here for. All right. Can you swallow that? Can you swallow that? I understand. Sometimes you got to chew on what I'm saying. It's not breast milk usually. So, chew on it. Chew on it, salivate for a second, chew it up real good. Chew it up real, real, real good. Okay. So that you can digest it well, and let's talk about it. Peace.